All right, man. What's going on? How you doing today, man?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Where you at?
I'm in Atlanta in my studio.
Nice. It's looking good. It's looking dope from here.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You got a lot of
As you can
plaques on
see,
the wall, I see.
I got more coming.
That's a lot. That's a lot. You got more too? That's crazy.
No, it's for the out in the pool area, pool table area,
Oh,
and I got a lot of wall space. I need to fill it up.
nice. So for those of you, for those people that may not know exactly your accolades and who you are and stuff, why don't you give us like a quick little rundown of like some of what you've done and stuff and who you are?
Okay, so my name is Troy Taylor. Songbook Entertainment (TTU) is the artist development of Songbook, and I've worked with the likes of Trey Songz, Aretha Franklin, Whitney Houston, Patti LaBelle, Mary J. Blige, Brian McKnight, SWV, Pretty Ricky, B2K, Tyrese, uh, yeah, Boyz II Men.
That's already
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
already a lot, right?
yeah. It's way more people. Genuine. Yeah, Johnny
Okay.
Gill. Yeah, I'm sure I'm forgetting. It's 31 years of people.
So you've been in the music game for a while.
Hmm.
What started you off like in the music game? Were you producing music? Were you songwriting more so, or what were you doing to get started?
Actually, I was an artist. Um, I was an artist. I signed to an independent label, got bought off by Motown, then started an album on Motown, finished the album. But then while I was working on that album, I worked with Boyz II Men, and they were young. And when they came out and blew all the way up, I decided I didn't want to be an artist anymore because I felt like I would enjoy myself more if I was behind the scenes rather in front of the scenes.
Really? Why is that?
Yep. Because I'm too real.
Plain and simple, too real.
I mean, you got to have some type of you got to play the game a little bit as an artist. And if someone, for example, pisses me off, I'm gonna go off on them. As an artist, you can't really do that because, they might not play your record or they might not, you know what I'm saying? But as a producer,
Right. As a
say
producer,
whatever I want.
you could kind of still like keep coming back with new hits. You could keep making more music. People won't really know who you are and stuff sometimes, and they might, but
Right. And
yeah.
I'm personal. I want to be able to move and do what I want to do. I wouldn't want to have to deal with that whole, someone see me, I got to sign autographs, got to be polite, they know who you are. Nah. I really took a moment to become real with myself, even though I was always real with myself. But when I was younger, I was just that person that had a lot of mouth. So as an artist, that wasn't going to work for me. I knew it wasn't going to work for me. So I decided to just not be an artist.
So since you were an artist and everything, were you already pretty good at like doing the whole songwriting thing and producing thing, or was that something you kind of learned along the way?
No, I was able to write and produce and all that stuff. That's how I actually got signed to Motown because Timmy Regisford, who was the A&R at the time, who bought me off the independent label, he liked me as a 100%er, as they're called. And so he was really, really cool when I decided I didn't want to be an artist because I hadn't come out yet. So not hasn't really been hadn't been any like real money spent. I stopped it just beforehand, and then he was really, really cool. And I went on to, just produce more Motown artists like Today, Boyz II Men, and others on the label. So he still utilized me. I still did, work. I just didn't come out as an artist.
Right. So working with these legendary artists like that, do you feel like that kind of like made you a lot better to kind of put yourself in the head of like an A&R type position of like finding talent and stuff like that? Since you
Yeah.
kind of know, like, since you kind of see what they're kind of doing and you're writing for them, you're like, okay, now I could visualize like what it would work on a new artist, a new act.
And also because I know what it's like to stay on the line for 2 hours long.
Yeah,
Producing artists, there's not much they could say that I don't understand and I don't get. And it also allows me to push them because I know what it really takes to record a song you know, effectively.
Right. So you helped develop Trey Songz.
Hmm.
How did you get aligned with this kid like at first? Like what's the story on that?
So at the time I had a partner, and my partner at the time went to school with Trey's stepdad, went to high school with Trey's stepdad. And it was one of those things where, they linked up, and he basically was like, hey man, listen, I got my son, he's 15. He said he want to sing, but I don't know if he's good. Can you take a look at him? And my partner at the time he's more of the business side and I was the music side. So he asked me if I could take a look at him. And eventually I had him just told him just to have him come to my house. And I lived in Jersey at the time. So he had him come over, and Trey was 15, and I asked him what was his favorite artist, and he said Jay-Z. And I said,
Hmm.
well, you say you wanted to sing, right? And he was like, oh yeah, yeah. I said, because that's not singing, that's rapping. He's like, because Trey was technically a rapper. And so he's like, oh, okay, well, R. Kelly. And so I was like, okay, all right, we could start there. And then from there, he sang for me. It wasn't a thing that blew me away, but it was something that there was something in his tone that said, okay, we can start with this. And the rest of, just building up his awareness and building his ear. So,
How long did
that he
that
can do it.
how long did that like come together and take? Because uh
It actually didn't take long at all. Trey really learned quick, and the only thing that took a while was for him to really hone him in his who he is as an identity. Um, but from 15, he got signed at 18, but he didn't come out till 20. That wasn't on us. That was more of the label trying to tell me how to make R&B music, which was dumb. Um,
they always try to do that, right?
yeah. And so if I had to say, it really didn't take long at all, because of the fact that he was such a good listener,
Hmm. What
very
so
good listener.
so during this time of your development of Trey Songz, like how does one develop someone like a Trey Songz that's not particularly a singer all the way? They're kind of like a rapper slash singer, but you're trying to get them to a singer level. Like, what do you do? Are you like coaching them vocals? Are you pulling out? Because this is a different time, like when beats aren't available on YouTube. You know what I mean? This is a time when this is all you. Like this is all your connections you have, your producers you have and stuff. How do you even trust the fact that like this is such a long blown question, but like how do you like where are you pulling the beats from? What are you doing? Like what's the whole
Okay,
process
so
of development?
I make tracks. So he basically watched me. I record, I write songs. He basically watched me. Same thing with Jonte Austin did. Same thing with Carl Thomas did. They all learned the same exact way. The teachings that I did for Carl, I did for Jonte, and what I did for Jonte, I did for Trey. All three of them have the same upbringing, if you will. So it's pretty much just watching me. And then Trey followed me everywhere, and that's just with the music I play in the car, pointing different things out. See how that person sang like that. You see how that person did that. You gotta, and just instructing him along the way. And that's why when I say Trey was a good listener, he did everything I said. That's how important that was, because he was able to hear and apply, lock in. Today's artists, they're a little bit more scatterbrainish. Um, they want it, but they don't want it that bad. They want it bad, but they don't want it that bad. They don't want it bad enough to be focused and to like just shut down everything to learn this thing. At that time, Trey shut down everything. He really wanted to be this. So with a little bit of a voice that he had and the tone that he had, it was easy to hone him into, because he paid attention to detail, and everything that I said, he did it.
Did you think that in your mind that he was going to be a superstar, or did you just think he was going to be like a good act, another good R&B act?
Well, no, I didn't even think that way at all. All I knew is he had something. He had the thing, that it thing, that little it thing in his eyes. I could see it. I could kind of see ahead, but that's still a hindsight kind of thing. Did I know he would be a star? No, not right away. But as we developed, and he developed more and more and got a little older and more mature, you know, to see as skinny as he was, still take off his shirt in a heartbeat. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
bird chest and all. Like what? You know what I mean? And
yeah.
he just had that kind of I don't care, I'm dope anyway kind of personality. And that's off outside of the artistry. So, you know, I would see this, you know, him with the girls and how he reacted to girls showed me, oh, okay. And you got that, you got the thing, you know how to turn it on and off, and you know how to use it. Give you the right songs and you'll be okay. So yeah, and because I have I would say a specific gift in development, because you know there's people who can discover but they can't develop. There's people who can discover and develop but they can't break it down and build it back up. You know, there's people who could break it down but they don't know how to build it up. There's people who can build it up but can't break it down. There are people who could, you know, I've been blessed to have the whole thing, find it, break it down, build it up, shape it, mold it, and then so I've been doing that since high school, seriously, because I was the kid in high school that had like the 8-track at home, and people would come to my house, you know, my room, and I'd be recording. And I could always tell when somebody had something. All singers are not artists.
Right.
Some singers are people who sing. It's a difference.
Yeah.
But I was always able to tell who was a real singer, like who was an artist. Like, oh no, you could sing and you're an artist. But people, you know, that's taboo. You can't say who's a star. You can't say who's an artist or not. It's within. No. The kid who plays dope basketball in the corner in his neighborhood, you could tell whether he's gonna be if he's good for the NBA or not.
That's
you could
true.
Tell.
That is
So
so
it's
true.
the same thing. So it's like, it's one of those kind of things. Oh, yo, you gotta see him play, man. He's dope. When you see him play, you know what the NBA says. Okay, they're not gonna let him do that. They're not gonna let him do that. He's not gonna be able to do that. Sure ain't gonna be able to do that. He ain't that dope. No, what you talking about? You crazy. So I'm saying, like, people don't understand there's rules to this thing. And to be an artist, there's a costume you must acquire.
Would you say over the years, because that's a good point you make, like there's certain rules to the industry, to the music world. It's like some unspoken rules and some just rules that everybody knows, but like it's kind of, do you think through the years it's kind of changed? Because like you said, like it's kind of taboo to be like, no, you can't judge this artist until you see what they do. You know, you could kind of tell like who's gonna make it and who's not sometimes. Like I myself, having the RnBass platform, I'm able to pinpoint artists myself that I feel are gonna make it, and I produce and develop as well. But for the general broad public and stuff, do you think it's changed over the years? Because you know, like some artists just are going viral on TikTok. You know what I mean? They have no limitations to like what they're doing, and there's no boundary and barrier of skill level. Do you think it's changed? Like before, somebody like you would have to find the artist and they would have to take your word for it. Now it's kind of like the public's perception. So do you think it's any different, or?
It's way different, because social media is determining who's what. The only problem with social media is a scatterbrain and very short attention span. So you're in trouble if you get discovered by the social media, because if they don't teach you how to keep it going, they'll spit you out just like they discovered you. And it's like on one half you're good because you got discovered, but since they don't develop you or teach you how to keep it going, the minute it stops, that's it. And if you don't know how to keep it going, because when you go viral, you can't necessarily dictate when you go viral. That's something that happens. So you can't just go and reproduce that again necessarily and expect the same thing to happen. It's kind of, you just got to keep going until it catches on. And if you're able to get discovered through TikTok or YouTube or whatever the case, if you don't have the developments of how to keep it or how to do it again, that's it.
Yeah.
Like literally, that's literally it. Like you got to find a way to do it again.
Yeah, I feel like some of these TikTokers and some of these like Instagram the kids, the really young ones that are like blowing up and stuff off a couple viral videos, I feel like they neglect sometimes development. You know, they kind
They
of
don't know anything about it. They
right.
don't know they got to be developed. To them, if they blow up on TikTok and get a deal and all that stuff, to them, they made it. That's it.
Yeah, it's kind of
Until the
like
rules come in.
right. Well, so what are some of those rules? Can you explain to some of these people listening?
How to walk into a room, how to sit, how to talk. There's a flair about all of that stuff. You got to know how to do all of that stuff. And everything is like this. You walk into the room wrong, an executive would be like, oh, no, he's not ready. What do you mean? He's not ready. If you sit wrong, literally, this seems like it's real persnickety. If you talk and don't look him in the eye, and you talk and look down, you're not ready.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't engage a conversation and sit up and really be bright and shine, you're not ready. And all these things is this. And they don't care. After the TikTok, they'll get their little money. Oh, this viral, we'll get the money we can, but they got to be developed. And then now the labels are not developing. So it's like, you got to figure out how to be developed.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of them just kind of just have this chip on their shoulder, like I made it, I'm done, like I'm good, I'm gonna be rich, and it's and that's really not the actual factual information. You know, there's so much more to it, and you know that's why they're here and gone tomorrow. You know what I mean? That's why someone like a Trey Songz is able to carry his careers for so many years. And I also wonder, like, for someone like a Trey Songz that's been able to carry himself for so many years, does he even like come back and show you love and to where he started? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Good.
Like, for example, like this album that we're about to put out, it's called Back Home. And so out of Trey's whole career, there's one album that he kind of like did on his own. And that's Tremaine. I did get one song on there. I got an intro and one song on there, but that was one of the albums that he wanted to just do by himself, like without me. But for the most part, he always lets people know where he came from, where he learned everything from. He never withheld that information whatsoever. And then this particular album, it's like, let's go back to what they know me for, and the person who knows that is me.
Yeah. So you had a big part in his beat selection and stuff like that. Good job, man. I really like the beats he picks, by the way. I just want to let you know.
Thank you. Usually when he's out on the road after, like when the album is done and it comes out and he's gone and doing shows and all of that, I'm already preparing for the next album. So if I hear something special, I just put it aside. If I do something special, I just put it aside. Or if I do something I think he should do on the next album, I put it aside. By the time it's all said and done, and it's time for him to get back in and do another project, when we get back up, I already have a folder of ideas of where I think he should go. And then he'll tell me what he thinks. And then we'll just go back in and just do stupid stuff and have fun until we get it.
I don't know if this was on the Tremaine album, but you know, some of the beats from the Featherstones, I was liking that vibe a lot.
I chose a beat from the Featherstones. I gave it to Kevin Ross, who was staying with me at the time, and he was my artist at the time, to write to it. That's Touch and Loving. And then they did another one. You know you did wrong.
Yeah,
that
wrong.
one.
Yeah.
So those two Kevin Ross wrote. So I gave those beats to Kevin, and just made sure the songs was right, and gave them, and then sent them to Trey.
You got a good ear, man. I like those beats a lot. Those are
Thank you.
bangers, man.
Yeah.
And also Say Ah is still playing in the clubs. I mean, well, not now, obviously, but
you know what's funny? What's funny about that? At the time, okay, Say Ah has a story. So I forget his name, who started the hook, who did the hook, but he's a part of Blame It on the Alcohol. So because they had that, Say I was created to be the next Blame It on the Alcohol, but then R. Kelly heard it and or no, he didn't hear it. They were gonna give it to R. Kelly. And one of the writers, Chef Tone, brought it to me because at the time he was leaving R. Kelly, and so he was trying to make his name for make a name for himself outside of R. Kelly, and he had this record and he played it for me, and it was a hook in the first verse, and Trey was upstairs, so I was like, nah, they was gonna give it to Jamie Foxx, so I was like, nah, we should give this to Trey, like for sure. So I called Trey down. Trey heard it, and he recorded it, then wrote the second verse, and then that was that. But we got accused at the time for having the fake Blame It on the Alcohol, because everybody called it the fake Blame. Yo, that record will never be bigger than Blame It on the Alcohol. It's like it's trying to be Blame It on the Alcohol, but it's not all the way there. So for that to be like that, but later on and years later become an anthem, it's bigger to me. It's bigger than Blame It on the Alcohol. I hear say more than I say hear Blame It on the Alcohol.
That is true. You know what?
And because of
yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you too. As a producer, I heard the Blame It beat and then the Say I, and I know Yanni, and I actually know the Blame It producer, but Chris, but like I knew the drums were similar. I was like, okay, I see what they're trying to do here. You know what I mean? But
yeah, it was supposed to be a continuation of it. But what's the other writer? The other writer, I forget his name, but he started the hook of Blame It and then got with Chris, and then he did it again with Yanni's track. What's his name? I can't think of his name. But he was the beginning of both those records, and then other people come in. But you could hear that it was trying to be like a Blame It on the Alcohol kind of thing.
Was.
But it was one thing that Say I had that Blame It did not have.
What's that?
You know what that one thing is? Go girl, it's your birthday. You can never go wrong with a birthday in your song. You just can't. It is somebody's birthday in the universe every single day.
Yes, that is actually, that's a cheat code right there.
Yes, it is. It is. It definitely is a cheat code. And that's why I realized, wait, this is gonna last longer because everybody don't drink. I don't drink. I've never been drunk a day in my life. So Blame It on the Alcohol, I'm not gonna blame it on the alcohol. I don't drink. But it is my birthday when it comes up, June 12th. Like everybody has a birthday. So that was
Vegas.
the thing I think made it special.
Yeah, Vegas loves that song. That's actually genius. I didn't even think of that. And the whole thing with the whole Blame It song anyway is like the guy that made that beat, he wasn't like trying to make a beat like that. You know what I mean? It just happened. So it's like the sound wasn't like, I mean, it was just whatever sound for the time. It just happened to work. The drum pattern was just like that, But Trey came out the winner in that situation. I mean, the birthday thing, I didn't even think of that. That's crazy. I think whoever watches this, that's an artist. They're about to do that in the next song, guaranteed.
Yep, it works every time. Work for 50, work for Jeremiah. It just works.
So with you developing artists, right? Are you kind of like visualizing in your head like who they should align with? Like for instance, Drake and Trey Songz. I don't know their whole relationship now, but I know that Drake was putting Trey Songz on every hook of his in the beginning, like Replacement Girl and stuff like that.
It was only Replacement Girl. Trey tried to bring Drake to Atlantic, and Craig Kalman didn't get it. He passed.
Wow.
Trey tried to bring him other places, and they didn't get it. And then on top of that, and then Trey wasn't in exactly the position he could be in at the time because Ready hadn't happened yet. So it was kind of like Trey means well. He sees it. He gets it. He's trying to do something with it, but nobody won't believe him. and they just had that relationship because Drake sought out Trey. Drake was a Trey Songz fan, and that's how that happened because Trey didn't know Drake. Drake, it was like a yo, can you see if you Trey Songz will sing on my Replacement Girl record? And Drake sounded so much like Trey that Trey like thought it was like funny, and so he did it because he felt like kind of like honored, like yo, that's dope. He sound like me. And so he did it, and then they became good friends. And then as Drake started moving on and getting to the whole Cash Money thing, and getting with with Wayne, it just went in that direction.
Yeah. Because I was like, man, it would be pretty sick if Trey Songz did another Drake hook. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
as from a fan perspective looking in, I would be like, I would not be mad at that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It would be dope. I think Drake has rapped more on Trey stuff than Trey has done on his stuff.
Right, right. I just felt like they were a pretty good pair a long time ago. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, that's kind of dope. You know what I mean?
Not for sure.
So you find a lot of people actually. You actually were real quickly working with my boy Maurice Moore. Um,
Oh yeah.
so how are you like? So now, how are you finding people compared to like before? Are you scouring Instagram? Are you on TikTok? Are you like, what are you doing now? Because you
I
got a
don't.
good ear, but how are you
I don't.
finding?
I appreciate that. I don't find anybody. I don't look for them. People hit me up all the time, and I do go to, they hit me in the DM. I do check people out. I check their, I don't reply back to them before I check them out first. And if I see that thing, that's how I know. And again, I've been blessed to have the ability to see diamonds and roughs. Like I could see something in something that ain't even there, and people be like, I don't get it. Like I can't explain it to you. All I can do is say watch. And so I don't search for artists. They hit me up, I check them out. If I get this feeling that I know I'm very keen on this feeling, I trust it now. Then I hit them up and begin communicating with them. I don't work with them right away. I just get to know them. And it could take a year before I even do any music on them. But I just get to know them, see where they are, see where their head is, who they are, get a little personal and see, because you got to be careful who you help. You don't know. In today's time with the mental illness and all that stuff, you don't know who you helping. You don't know if you helping a psycho get money and become famous. You don't know. So it takes time, and I take my time to get to know people, um, and just watch them and see what their abilities are.
Absolutely. And also, as someone who develops artists, I want to ask you this because I'm curious your thoughts on this. You're a pro at this, right? So, do you think it's still possible for like in the singing realm, at least, for non-good-looking singers to blow up and be stars?
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, I'm talking
for
about
sure.
like, because the thing is, in a time of like the Trey Songz era, you kind of had to be like a good-looking, you know what I mean, like a Trey Songz, Chris Brown, you know what I mean?
That's over since the hip hop is the leading selling music right now because half these rappers don't look good.
But the thing is though, but I'm talking about be a star though, like because there's levels to it, you know, because Chris Brown and Trey Songz are stars, but there's a lot of people that are buzzing though in our Spotify playlist, but they're not stars, and that's why I'm
This is a really touchy conversation because I can't name names because if I do, I'll be saying who I think is a star but ain't good looking. And, and I can't
I
really
think I
say.
know in my head. I don't even want to say a name either, but and you know
There are
honestly,
people.
yeah, well, I guess you're right, but I feel
No,
like
there are a
just
lot of people who are stars that ain't look good looking.
so with those people, like it's really based on like the strength of their voice and the presence they give off, I guess, you know.
Yep, and the song selection, how they're able to connect to people through their songs. So sometimes people don't care how you look. They just want you you're just able to tap in on they're able to tap in on how they can make you feel, and so people focus more so on that rather than the looks of them.
Right.
So yeah, I believe we're in an era where it doesn't matter what you look like.
I believe so
I really
too.
do.
And I want to ask you, because I invented the whole R&Bass thing, which to me is a genre that is the future of R&B. Basically, it's where R&B is pretty much going. What do you feel like the future of R&B is going to be? Because I feel like it's really getting completely merged with hip hop. You know, like it still exists, but it's just really different than before, man. I would say Trey Songz and Jacquees and all them do R&Bass music, technically.
Well, why? Because of the 808?
It's more like, it's just the modernness of it. You know, like you could kind of hear like a traditional R&B song, and then you could hear like an R&Bass type song, like a Touchin' Lovin' or whatever. You could just see like just the vibe is different.
Yeah, I think that's just going on with the fact that where hip hop is mainstream now. And that's probably what, that's just part of what you have to do. It has to hit hard, or you can't be in people's playlists having a soft R&B music without, it being some type of bottom to it. And I just didn't. But I want to say this though. I believe that if rappers could sing, they wouldn't rap.
Really?
Yeah, I really believe that.
And why?
Look what's going on. They're singing now. They're not rapping. They're singing.
Very true.
They're all singing, all of them. There's some melody within their rap. All of them are singing.
Very true.
And I believe that if they could sing, they wouldn't rap. If they could sing like a Trey Songz or Chris Brown, they wouldn't rap. They want the lifestyle of an R&B artist, and the only way they can get it, because they can't sing, is to rap. And so now they got this, this lifestyle.
That kind of reminds me of Lil Baby. He's right on the edge of singing. He's like, it's like,
so is Roddy Ricch.
Right. That's a great example. Yeah.
And Young Thug be trying to do runs. He's trying to do runs for real.
It's such a fine line between melodic rap and singing. Even like even the singers are kind of doing like melodic talking too. So it's almost like, wait, you're a singer, but you're like Chris Brown, go crazy. It's almost like he's talking in a sense.
Yeah, well, that's only because Chris knows that hip hop is mainstream, and so R&B artists can't oversing, because if they oversing, they'll lose people, because most people can't sing. When you're doing a song, when you're recording a song, in my opinion, when you're recording a song, you should record and cater your song to non-singers. There are more non-singers in the world than there are singers.
Right. So you're saying basically aligning more with people and being more relatable, as far as like not singing too good.
To the point where you lose them and they're just sitting there listening to you. No, they're good. No, he could sing, but they don't try it. They don't want to try it because they don't want to, you do that. You kind of lose people. There is a fine line though. If you're able to put that in the song where there's a part for them and then the artist does their thing, if you know how to write songs to keep the audience engaged and singing along while you're going ill, you know what I mean? There is a way to do that. Then they worry about their part. They don't worry about the part that's like the singing part.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing to think about. Like, do you think you lose people if you like sing way too good on a track? Like you're doing tons of runs, too many harmonies. Yeah.
Yep. Because we're in a world where, because hip hop is mainstream, the reason why I believe a lot of this hip hop is being mainstream is because the average person that can't sing can sing along with these rappers, and do the bare minimum of vocals, and they feel like they sound like them.
It makes tons of sense, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Because people want to like sing along with these songs. That's why like nursery rhymes are so big. Because it's like so simple, like anybody could sing along.
If you remind a person that they can't sing, they don't like you.
Wow, that's deep, actually.
So you singing too well because you're reminding them that they can't sing. And when a person goes, I can't do all of that, you lost them.
So what's the difference then between like these people doing covers on YouTube and Instagram, singing crazy, blowing everyone away, and then songs that are out?
Well, those people who are singing and blowing people away, are they stars?
Probably not.
Because Tori Kelly is supposed to be freaking Taylor Swift,
True,
and she's not.
true. Wow.
She could sing her butt off. You know what I mean? Um, I worked with JoJo when she was 9 years old. She had worked. She had won a Jenny Jones contest. The contest was for her to go into the studio to work with a professional producer. So I was asked to do it, and of course I didn't. You know, she was 9. I didn't know she would be who she is now. But what I did know at that time when she was 9 is she would not do nothing without runs. She's doing runs on every line, and I'm like, you're gonna have to learn how to really control that because you can't run everything. You know what I mean? Everything can't be a run. And all she did was listen to people who could sing and runs and Coco and Faith. And she's a little white girl listening to all these R&B dope singers. And I'm like, it's cool, but it's too much. And for her to have gotten stuck into that whole background situation and just being stuck for years, we don't know what she could have ended up being. But one thing is for sure, she learned how to control those runs. She learned how to use them.
Yeah, that's all I noticed. Like whenever I hear runs in a song, I'm kind of like, it doesn't like entice me. It's just kind of like, it's kind of like show offy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess that's why melodic rap is so attractive, is because of the fact you're getting the melody, but not too much run and
Yep.
crazy stuff. So
Yep.
yeah, 100%. So what's next for you, man?
Okay, so I have two artists that I've developed that been developing, and one is Devin Culture, and another one is Edward Beck. Edward Beck is like a young August. Devin Culture is like young Maxwell. So I got the soul and I got the mainstream R&B. I got two different demographics of R&B. Devin Culture has a mean falsetto. He really could sing, but yet not over sing. Some say he sounds like Trey. I don't think he sounds like Trey at all. But if he does, if they say he does, okay, that's a start. Then okay, at least they didn't say somebody who can't sing. But Edward does have a little August in him, I will say. But he's dope. That, and then of course the next Trey Songz album. What else? I just did 2 songs on Corinne Hawthorne, the gospel artist. I got something pretty interesting with Duval coming. Real interesting. Very, very. Matter of fact, I guess he's doing the video as we speak over in Fulton Industrial. I found out late, but it's gonna be pretty interesting. It's definitely gonna be interesting. And something else I'm missing. I'm missing something else. I'm in the studio now with Daniel Manuz. I can never say his name. Daniel
Munoz?
Munoz. Yes. I can't. Yeah, he's in there playing pool now. Epic sent him down for me
I think
to
he was in my
develop.
studio before. Is he
Oh,
from
really?
Jersey?
Yes.
Okay, he was. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, he's been.
Yeah, Epic sent him down for me to.
Yeah.
Get him right. And we have some really, really good songs that fit. There's a lot of people that, just let me say this. Every hit song cannot make every artist a hit artist.
Right.
I don't know why people don't, just because you got a hit song, you still got to put it on the right person. It can't just go to anybody. You know what I mean? Like, you can't take, well, I think Trey could have done Go Crazy. but it's a Chris Brown record.
Right.
But it wouldn't have been the same because that dancing is a big part of it. You know, the whole Go Crazy video that went viral with people in the car and they're dancing, that's a part of Go Crazy going big.
Right.
You got to have that thing. And see, Trey wouldn't have been dancing. So, you know, it wouldn't have worked. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
It's just certain things that just, you got to get the hit record and you got the artist to match perfectly. And that's when you get an explosive situation. So with Daniel, I'm just really like making sure the records match who he is, and then able to put him in a who's that category, but who's that going up, not who's that going down. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, who's that? Not a who's that? You know, they're different.
Very different.
Like that, who's that right when I'm trying to keep them up there. It's like, whoa, who's that? Oh, he dope. We're voice up there. But that, I mean, who that is not a good who that. The other things matter. But yeah, so that's what I'm working on with him. And then something else I'm missing.
A lot, man. You're working on a lot right now.
Well, in the pandemic, it would be a lot. You know, a lot of people have been asking me to sort of check out their artists as far as inquiring for development, which is interesting. It's like, you know, can you put them in your TTU system? I think people know that artists still need to be developed, but they don't have the money to do it. Labels don't care. You got to figure it out. But everyone knows their artist has to be developed, but they don't know what to do. They don't know how to develop. You know, it takes a special skill to develop an artist. 100%. Everybody don't know how to do it. And it takes a lot of patience, which technically I don't have, by the way. But I find ways to squeeze the patience out of me. Wow. And do it only because if I can see it, then I know it's there. I got to do it. I can't see it and then not develop it. It's almost like I'm going against my own self. How could you see it and don't help that? That's not cool. You know that you know exactly what they need and you're not going to do it. Well, they're not my artist. Doesn't matter. You have a gift to help and you have to do that. And so I tend to help artists that are not my artists per se. And you know, that's a big thing in development. No one's developing artists that ain't theirs.
I know.
The industry says you need to be signing them. And, you know, for somebody like a Breland, who I gave him the pinpoint guard because he was my pinpoint guard, developing him writing wise to get to the point where he is now with the My Truck and now he's a country artist signed to Atlantic. He went through the whole artist development as well. So it works. The development still works and it's still necessary, but not everybody knows how to do it.
Yeah, I like him a lot as a singer. I just noticed a lot of singy stuff, but then he did the My Truck song, which is completely different and it worked. But then, like, you know, following that up with another, like, do you do another country type song like that, or do you do the real you? Like, that's the whole question, you know. It's like,
yeah. Well, he's no longer under my tutelage, so I don't know what he's gonna do.
Right. But I mean, that's pretty crazy that you actually develop artists that aren't signed to you, you know, because I mean, you know how some artists, they kind of just take and then they kind of just go with what they get from you. And then, you know, I've experienced this myself, you know, I'm just saying from experience as well. And it's kind of sucky when they get $1 million deal and then they're just like, yo, thank you, man. Yeah. Just, yo, thank you. Troy, thank you, man.
It's happened to me with producers. It's happened to me for writers, and it's happened to me with artists. And my take on it is everybody's not for me.
Yeah,
it hurts still. It still does hurt though. It still does hurt. But then I have to ask myself, did I do it because I could, or did I do it for something in return?
Right. That's a great.
Because I get blessed. I just don't get blessed by them.
Mm-hmm.
It comes from somewhere else. So I always have to remind myself, well, Troy, who did you do it for? Did you do it because you know you knew what they needed, and you developed them, which is you developed the gift that God gave them, or did you do it for self-gain?
Right.
So
Right.
that's a double-edged sword, because it hurts. Even when I say no, I did it because I knew it needed to be done. But it would be nice if they were with me. Because when they're not, it still hurts the same. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's like you do all of this and then they go to somebody else and they blow up and make somebody else who wouldn't even wouldn't even look at them if they got them when you found them, you know, kind of thing. Breland hit me up. He hit me up on IG. So I just, I really can't explain it. It's a feeling that I get from people that I know to get involved with them or to respond to them.
Yeah, it's just human nature, I guess, to kind of want to grab everything and keep it all for ourselves and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
realistically, like you said, you know what I mean? Some people are just going to go their own way and do their own thing, and you're along for the journey, and it is what it is.
Yep.
And
ain't no contract that's going to make a difference.
Right. And in either way, maybe even the contract would have made it even worse. You know, you never know.
You never know.
And then they're like, I want to get out of this. I hate this, you know, whatever. And then you're part of that mess and blah, blah. So, yeah, I feel you on that. You're 100% right. But, yeah, I mean, man, I think we covered a lot in this Zoom right here.
Oh, for sure.
I'm really glad we got to talk. You know what I mean? I think artists are smart if they listen to this. They need to listen to this Zoom right here, getting this information from someone that's done it.
Yeah, they listen, but they don't apply.
They don't apply. They're gonna listen to this and they're not gonna apply it, and that's okay. It's fine.
Oh, that's not me. I mean, you know, I don't do that. That's not me. You know, so I do it. I'm like, no, you too.
Yeah, the whole thing is that human nature, it really doesn't change. Like even though it's a different time on our planet, it's still the same fundamentals, the same. You know, at the end of the day, people want a good song. People want a good person that they could trust and you know, get into and all that stuff. So yeah, I feel you. Yeah. But is there any last things you want to let people know or whatever before we end this?
I just want to let everyone know the Devin Culture is a dope star, and you either jump on now or you jump on later, but you're gonna jump on. And I remember when they told me Trey Songz was a fake R. Kelly, and I tried to tell them that's not true. But I believe Devin Culture is R&B wise. He's an upcoming R&B star. I hope that you guys could, you know, really, really give it a shot and really get into him and take the journey and see where it's going.
I'm gonna check him out right after this right now too.
I appreciate it. Cultivate, his EP that I put out called Cultivate.
Okay, sounds good, man.
And it's only the beginning. I didn't put out his best. I put out the beginning so that people could, because sometimes, you know, if you come out with music that's too good, people don't like that because they feel like they missed something. And they feel like,
yeah.
It's like, yo, so how long this been out? It just came out. Oh, and they get an attitude. Like they don't feel like they were a part of the journey. You know what I mean? Like I can remember the day Trey played me Weekend stuff. Like we were in the car and he was just playing the whole album. I'm like, who is this? This is annoying. Like, who is this, Trey? Nah, it's the Weekend. Like, the Weekend? This was a group or something? He's like, nah, it's an artist. It's a male artist. Oh. I remember the sound of that whole of the House of Balloons, and he had a sound. It was annoying because every song sounded the same, but at the same time, he had a sound.
Right.
So it's like he had a whole cult following. I didn't even know, and they built and follow the whole way, and so that's what it takes. It takes that. So that's what I'm building with Devin slowly, and just trying to get him, you know, going now, because you got to put music out. So we just started putting visuals and music out, and yeah, check them out.
I will. That sounds good, man. Well, thank you for joining us. Man, it's RnBass, Troy Taylor, J Maine.
Thank you for having me.
No problem, man.